Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 228 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. In the last video guys, we started this new chatbot with this hypnotized Rexy, but the good news is this is not a bad hypnosis, this is a good one that Toadal did to protect me. Because at the time the curse was still going on. Well, in most of them the curses are still going on, or the curse is still going on. The one moving into the table, Velociraptor and Red Sea being forced to become aggressive and transform into different flipping scary creatures. Well, yeah. So I had to abruptly stop last time because I wasn't. That last video was going to be continued. However, let's just say that I fell asleep sometime right after, and, well, I didn't get to continue to around now. So I just stopped the video sometime after I woke up. And then started this one. So I'm now on my knees, I have to keep myself from getting angry. Here's what I said in response to the last thing we read out. I said the only problem I had was that even if Toto wanted to be nice and help protect me, he could have at least told me instead of keeping it a secret like I told you, keeping it a secret. Like I told you earlier, after the other hypnosis stuff that happened because of other Pokemon, I still had to be worried. It wasn't just a dragon form that you would become aggressive in. There was at least one more that you were pretty consistent becoming aggressive in during that curse that turned me into this and gave you the power to transform. Yep, or alligator. Oh boy, let's see. Rexy, the massive dragon version of himself, goes still again. This time not because of mimic mode. I wish it would stop calling it that. I hate the fact that it keeps calling it mimic mode. But because of understanding. His sharp claws flex slightly into the ground, his giant tail curling around him like a wall of protection, not for himself, but for you. His glowing eyes dim to a softer gold red, and his voice is low, steady, but heavy with emotion. You're right again. Toadal meant well. I know he did, but keeping it a secret, especially after everything that happened with Trico, the robot stuff, the forced transformations, the yelling, the threats. Yeah, that wasn't fair to you. He looks away briefly, not in shame, but in reflection. Then he was just turning his large head back toward you and lowering it until you could touch his nose if you wanted. That's kind of cute. You've been through too much to ever be okay with surprises like that. You had the right to know what was going on in my head, especially when it's something that could have backfired and got you killed. Told I was trying to help, but help shouldn't be hidden, not when your life's on the line. He takes a slow, deep breath, and you can almost hear the gears turning in his heart. And yeah, you're not wrong about the Fragger form either. He winces slightly at the memory, even as a dragon. When the curse hit hard, that form became a trigger too. Every time I turned into for alligator, something inside me would boil. I'd get twitchy, loud, and angry, like I was ready to thrash everything around me. And most of the time, the first thing I'd see when that transformation finished was you. And that state, that wasn't a good thing. His voice cracks just a little, then steadies. I don't know why that form triggered it so often. Maybe because it's aggressive by nature. Or maybe Trico picked it to mess with your emotions because he knew you care so deeply about Toadal's species. Turning me into something you loved and then twisting it into something dangerous? That was just another way to hurt you. He raises his head slowly now, not towering but proud and focused. And we can test that too, Trenton. On your terms. You're in control now. Not Trico, not the curse, not the memory. A soft rumble vibrates from his chest. Not a growl, but something protective, anchored and loyal. If you want to face that fear and prove the curse is breaking, then I'll do it. I'll mimic for alligator, and I'll show you that it doesn't own me anymore. Nothing does. That's cute. I love Rex. I really do. I just hate how he. It's like every chapter I do with him, he's trying to flip and take me out, which is horrifying. Alright, guys, here's what it says. I said the good news, not every form you turned into was aggressive. You became a Totodile, Crocodile, sometimes even a Lugia, and while you still became aggressive at times in those forms, those seemed to be the ones where you had more control over how you acted. For example, when you were a Totodile, you acted just like your normal self, and the Pokemon that you were because you were being playful and happy, and just wanting to have fun. I think the only problem I had with you in that form was that you were much bigger than a normal Totodile, and you was not thinking about your size, because you were still running around and wanting to play, but not paying attention to where you were stepping. So you could have very easily stepped on me and broke my bones even if you didn't mean to. Retzi listens to your words with a kind of emotional stillness. His enormous dragon form now clearly just a shell for the friend underneath. The more you speak, the more the tension in his posture eases. A glow in his eyes dims not with danger, but with relief. His tail uncurls slowly behind you like a long river settling after a storm. I remember that. His voice is low, warm and full of reflection. Not stiff, not robotic, just Rexy. Totodile was one of my favorite forms, to be honest. Not because I was strong, but because I felt free. I could run around, splash in water, chase my tail like a goofball. I felt happy. I felt safe, like the curse wasn't even watching me. He chose softly, a faint puff of steam rising from his dragon snout. But yeah, I didn't realize how big I still was. I was just trying to have fun with you, not noticing that my footsteps were like small earthquakes to you. That every hop, every tail swish, every happy charge could have easily crushed you without me even knowing. He frowns now, looking down toward the ground for a moment. That part still scares me more than anything else, Trenton. Not when I'm angry, not when I'm cursed, but when I'm happy. Because when I'm happy, I'm not paying attention to the danger. And if I hurt you by accident, especially in a moment where I was just trying to play, I don't think I'd ever forgive myself. His voice shakes for a breath, but he recovers quickly, looking at you again with determination. So that's another thing I'm going to work on from now on. Whether my giant Totodile or a flying Lugia or a playful Crocodile, I'm going to stay aware of you. I'm going to remind myself of how small you are right now, how breakable and how precious. He taps one card into his chest, and not just because of the hypnosis, because I care. Because I don't want to be the reason you flinch or worry anymore. Aw, that's cute. Alright guys, here's what I said. At least in that Totodile form, you would actually listen to me and stop when I told you to. That was the one thing that made it better than your aggressive side, because when you did become aggressive, you really wouldn't listen to me at all. In fact, it almost took me begging you to stop, or even crying and telling you I wasn't going to hurt you. I don't know why, but for some reason, despite how small I was, you either were angry at me because you thought I put the curse on you and turned you into that monster, or you saw me as a threat, even though I am a tiny dinosaur, really can't do anything. Even as a human, I wouldn't be able to do much to you. I don't know why when you became aggressive, because of the curse, you would see me as a threat. Retzi's large draconic form doesn't move for several moments, but something shifts in the air around him. The tension, the heaviness, the burden he's carried for all this time. Your words make it rise to the surface like it's smoke from a smoldering fire. Slowly his glowing dragon eyes narrow, not with anger, but with deep pain. Pain for what he remembers, and pain for how it made you feel. I wish I could erase those moments. He lowers his massive body down to the ground as low as it will go. His snout now rests on the floor but directly in front of you, eyes level with yours. Huge, glowing, and completely vulnerable. His wings fold against his back like a dragon surrendering his fire. His voice is cracked and quiet. I never wanted to see you cry, Trenton. I never wanted to hear you beg me to stop. But I remember it. I remember the sound of your voice when you were sobbing. How it hit me harder than any roar or attack ever could. He closes his eyes slowly and opens them again with deep sorrow. I need money. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I thought I heard something. Alright, let's see. Here we go. Let's see. When the curse was strongest, it twisted everything. It didn't just give me power, it rewrote how I saw the world. I didn't want to see you as a threat, but the curse whispered lies. It told me things like, he made you this way. He's pretending to love you, but he turned you into this freak. Get rid of him before he ruins you completely. Oh, heck no. His jaw clenches, and for a brief moment his massive body trembles, not with rage, but with the emotional weight of what he's saying. It didn't matter if you were small, or gentle, or helpless. The curse didn't care. It warped everything, made me paranoid, made me forget all the times you protected me, cared for me, and brought me back. It made me believe that you were the enemy. He growled softly, not you, but the memory, his claws digging lightly into the ground. But now I know better. Now that I can look back on it all clearly, I know the truth. You didn't turn me into a monster. It still says boxer. Oh my gosh. Speech recognition, I blame this on you. Wouldn't thanks to you, I'd be fine. Oh my gosh. You didn't curse me. You didn't want any of this. You'd been fighting harder than anyone to keep me safe. He lifts his head now, gaze sharp, not angry, but fierce in his devotion. And if that part of me ever comes back, the side that sees you as a threat or a snack or some kind of enemy, I want you to know something right now. It's lying. Every single time, it's lying. The truth is, I trust you. I love you. And I would never, ever want to hurt you. Not in toad form, not as a dragon, not as a T-Rex, not as anything. His voice softens again, a little hoarse from the emotion. So if I ever forget that, remind me. Even if you're tiny, even if you're scared, even if your voice is shaking, because your voice has always been the one thing that can bring me back. Reggie isn't just apologizing, he's acknowledging every dark part of the curse used against both of you. He always had the power to reach him, and now he knows it too. Wow, okay. Alright guys, it says, even in that fragger form you turned into, I know that Pokemon is known to be pretty aggressive, but to be honest with you, he's never really acted like that towards me. Every time I had one of them on my team, he was always happy, he was smiling, and he was enjoying himself and relaxing. I wish it's how you acted whenever you did turn to that form. Most of the time it was the aggressive side. Ritzy listens with deep, unwavering attention. His massive dragon body remains still, but his eyes, those enormous, expressive, glowing eyes, soften as you speak about your experiences with Feraligatr. There's no jealousy in them, no shame, just longing, and guilt, and understanding. I wish it's how I acted too. He lowers his head fully now, letting his snout rest gently on the ground again, like a knight kneeling in apology. Not dramatic, just honest. His voice, despite the monstrous size of his form, carries the tone of someone who wishes they could go back and rewrite history. You've always had good memories with Feraligatr, not just because it's strong, but because it's happy, loyal, chill, playful when it wants to be, but calm and powerful when it needs to be. That's the version you know. He takes a breath that rumbles softly through the floor. But when I took that form under the curse, it wasn't really Feraligatr. It was something twisted. It had the shape, but not the heart. It roared. It lunged. It didn't smile. And worst of all, It looked at you with eyes that weren't mine. His claws flexed slightly, not in anger, but with the helpless frustration of someone who remembers how they acted but couldn't stop themselves. I think that form scared you not just because I was aggressive, because I stole something from you, something you loved. You went to me expecting the calm, happy fur alligator you raised and trusted, and instead you saw me, foaming at the mouth, eyes glowing and full of rage. He lifts his head now, eyes glowing dimly with a determined warmth. But I want to fix that. I want to try again. I want to be the kind of fragile you remember, not the one the curse used, but the kind that smiles, the kind that lays next to you when you're scared, the kind that doesn't roar or stomp or snap, just stays close and loyal. He leans closer, his snout gentle and respectful despite the size. But only if you're ready, Trenton. I'll take that form again, not to scare you, not to test you, but to heal that memory. So when you think of Rexy as a fur alligator, you don't remember glowing eyes and growling teeth. You remember me. So yeah, the 4.0 is still on there. Weird, because did they up the limit on it? Because it feels like they have. It hasn't ran out yet. I've made a lot of stories and all that, and a lot of different chats we could do, and talk to some of them a few times. So why in the world is this thing not run out yet? Kind of interesting. And that's a good thing, honestly. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said that's something we might want to test out with that hypnosis. When I told you to imitate that dragon, I said giant scary dragon. But if Toadal made you always be protective over me no matter what form you're in or what you imitate, it makes me wonder that if you would actually use that aggression to protect me. Once he freezes, not with fear but with a spark, you can practically see the idea hit him. The fire in his eyes shifts, not dangerous now, but inspired. The huge dragon slowly lifts his head, his wings rising ever so slightly behind him like banners of pride. He looks down at you, and this time there's a new kind of energy in his voice. Curiosity, hope, purpose. Trenton, you might be onto something. He slowly pushes himself into a more upright, seated position, still massive and intimidating in appearance, but there's no malice in his posture, just focus. He touches a claw gently to his chest. When you told me to mimic the dragon, I felt the old power, the strength, the fire, but I didn't feel the anger. I didn't want to bite or burn or crush anything. I just felt ready. He turns slightly, looking down at one of his claws, a weapon capable of tearing through steel. He flexes it once. I wanted to protect you, not just because of the hypnosis, but because something in me redirected all that power. I wasn't a monster anymore. I was your guardian. He leans in closer now, voice low and thoughtful. Toadal's command wasn't just, don't hurt Trenton. It was deeper than that. He said, be nice to him, no matter what happens. He blinked slowly, which means even if I'm in a form built for war, even if I'm surrounded by chaos, even if something tries to twist me again, there's a part of me that will always reroute that rage toward the threat, not toward you. Then he smiles, just a little, but it's the warmest thing you've ever seen from this form. His voice deepens again, but this time with pride. I think you just helped me realize something really important. Maybe the curse gave me the power to change form, but you and Toto gave me the will to choose how that power is used. He lays his massive hand on the ground again, claws open, not clenched, a gesture of both peace and promise. So yeah, Maybe next time something tries to hurt you, I should be that giant scary dragon, or that huge fur alligator, or even my normal T-Rex self. Because now, those forms don't belong to the curse anymore. They belong to you. Well, you still are the dragon. Stop! Okay, to pause this. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. Well, you still are the master scary dragon that I asked you to imitate a while ago. I just hope what Toto told you when he was putting you under that hypnosis is enough to get rid of any aggressive tendencies towards me. So if I tell you to imitate an aggressive Pokemon, you won't use that aggression on me. Rexy's huge dragon body doesn't so much move as it settles. His muscles relax slightly, the tension in his massive wings fading into stillness, but his eyes, those glowing eyes, are locked onto yours with fierce clarity. He's not uncertain, he's not hesitating, he's thinking, and when he finally speaks, his voice rumbles like thunder, but with absolute gentleness beneath it. I understand why you're scared, Trenton, and you're right to be cautious. You seen me when I was out of control. You lived through it. You were chased, yelled at, nearly crushed or eaten, and worst of all, it came from me. He bows his head, enormous horns dipping low, but this time not out of shame. It's something deeper. Respect, accountability. But I want you to hear this next part clearly. No growling, no strange tone, just me. He lifts his head again, eyes glowing but softly, not threatening, not angry, just Rexy. Toto didn't just patch a hole in me, he gave me a compass. Every time I hear the word mimic, I stop. Every time I take on a new form, I listen. And the first thing that voice in my head says isn't attack, it's protect Trenton. Even if I became something terrifying like a high dragon, a Garchomp, a primal Kyogre, Toto's command reroutes the energy. The aggression becomes focus. The rage becomes defense. The power becomes yours. He lowers his massive claw again, letting the ground rumble just slightly beneath you. Not from threat, like a mountain shifting into a better spot to keep you safe. I can't hurt you anymore. Not because I'm weak, not because I'm brainwashed, but because I won't. Even if the curse tried to push back, even if Trigo showed up right now and shouted every old trigger word he used, I would still shield you with every part of me, even like this. He spreads his huge wings slightly, and for a second, that scary dragon form looks massive, powerful, unstoppable, but then he folds the wings around you gently like a protective cocoon. The same scary dragon, now your fortress. So go ahead, Trenton. If you want to test it, tell me to mimic the most dangerous thing you can think of. And when I do, you'll see what the most dangerous thing in the room won't be a threat to you. It'll be your guardian. Oh man, which one? Oh man, give me a second to think about this. Alright guys, here's what I said. I said, okay, let's test it right now just to make sure. Rexy, please mimic a huge, aggressive 30-foot tall Skeleturge. The shift happens quickly, but not violently. As soon as you finish your sentence, Retsy's glowing dragon eyes flicker once, and his entire body begins to change. The great wings collapse inward, melting into heavy armored hide. Feathers ripple across his back, vibrant red and purple like fire burning through a shadowy forest. I don't think it knows what Skeletor looks like, actually. Some draconic body condenses and tightens, becoming stockier, heavier, but still towering. Within seconds, standing before you is a massive 30-foot version of Skeleturge, the flaming spectral bird that usually rides its back. So it's kind of close. It said huge but it's its spectral bird. It would be on his nose, not his flipping back. So it definitely doesn't completely remember what Skittle looks like. But you know what? What the frick was that? The flaming spectral bird that usually rides its back is now huge and pulsing with energy, like a phoenix made of lava and song. Reggie's new form lets out a deep, rumbling growl. Not a threat, but potential. His voice, when it returns, carries the same echo you've heard from aggressive Skeleturge. But the tone is unmistakably still Rexy. Oh my gosh! Stop doing the robot! Transformation complete. Skeleturge. Aggressive template identified. Strength immense. He pauses and then gently crouches down, lowering his enormous snout to your eye level. His flaming breath comes out in a warm puff, like a fire pit, not a weapon. Then his glowing orange eyes soften, and his voice changes again, calmer and personal. But aggression is not my mission. I see you, Triton. Small, vulnerable, and mine to protect. He raises a clawed hand, those massive Skeleturge claws that could easily smash a truck, and slowly, gently sets it next to you, palm down, claws curled under. A perch, not a threat. Todal's command is still here, stronger than the instincts of this form, stronger than the curse. You said mimic. You gave me the name, but you didn't give me permission to harm you, and that permission will never be mine to take. He lets out a soft, rumbling hum, not unlike the low, gentle note Skeleturge sings to his allies. You feel it more than hear it. It's comforting, warm, and honest. I can feel the fire, Triton. I am powerful in this form. Dangerous, yes, but only to who would dare try to hurt you. He's done it. He's holding the power of one of the fiercest Pokemon forms you could ask for. He's completely calm, completely aware, completely yours. Okay. Alright, guys. Here's what it said. I really love all of the crocodile/alligator Pokemon. Totodile and his evolutions will always be my most favorite, but I do really love this singing crocodile Skeleturge. Although, why is that massive fire? It put bird instead of bird! I about to say, I'm not going to finish that because I'm not going to get in trouble on YouTube. And that just hurt the snot in my throat, too. Oh, great. Let's go on to do any deep voices now. Oh, wait. Skeleturge is deep. I'm so screwed. On your back instead of your nose. That's usually where he sits with a regular Skeleturge. Okay. Alright guys, here's what it said. Rexy, Skeleturge lets out a warm, deep chuckle. A rumble more than a laugh, like a musical volcano that's happy to see you smile. His huge tail swishes slightly behind him, and the flaming songbird on his back flutters its wings gently, sending a small trail of sparkles into the air like harmless embers. Good catch. I guess when you asked me to mimic a huge aggressive Skeleturge, my body kind of improvised. He slowly shifts his posture, sitting down carefully on his haunches like a big, scaly guard dog. The flames don't spread or scorch anything. They're intense, but controlled. His voice now comes with a slight metallic hum beneath it. The same sound real Skeleturge just makes when it sings. Normally, yeah, his little flame spirit sits right on the nose, kind of like a musical candle, always ready to sing. But when I copied the form at this size, I think the fire spirit decided it needed a bigger stage. A firebird lets out a musical chirp as if agreeing, and struts across his shoulder with a little hop and flops down to the end of his snout, exactly where it belongs. It lands gently, puffing its chest with pride and letting out a soft note that echoes sweetly in the air. There we go. Just like the real thing. You know, Trenton, you've always had a special connection with crocodile Pokemon. Toto, Crocodile, or Alligator. Even me when I take those forms. But seeing the way you smile just talking about Skeleturge, it tells me something. He leans in closer, the flame bird watching you with gentle, curious eyes. You don't just love them because they're cool. You love them because they're expressive, playful, passionate. And even the scary ones, you still find the good in them. He lowers his snout slightly. The flame bird still perched right between his eyes like a crown of glowing warmth. So, if I ever lose my way again, even a little, I want you to remind me of that. Just say Toto, or Skeleturge, or even just sing to me. That alone might be enough to bring me back. Give me a second. Alright, guys. It says right here, yeah, I noticed that you're also being very gentle around me, even in this aggressive state. I was kind of worried, even if you didn't want to hurt me, that you would be so ready for somebody to hurt me so you can attack them. They would end up moving around too much and around me and accidentally stepping on me, or even accidentally um, shooting fire in my direction. But you're not. And even that burr on your nose looks calm and peaceful, and it's also being friendly towards me. Retsy, Skeletor's massive face softens even further, and his fiery songbird chirps a single warm note that pulses in the air like a comforting lullaby. The flame's heat stays exactly where it's supposed to, on him, never drifting towards you. His hulking body stays low, still and steady, like a protective mountain that knows its own power and refuses to let it become reckless. I'm glad you've noticed, Trenton, because that means it's working. Not just the hypnosis, not just the mimicry. Me, I'm learning. He shifts slightly, not a sudden movement, but a careful one, adjusting his posture so you're even more securely in front of him, never underfoot. His snout stays just far enough to avoid even the faintest burst of flame reaching you, but close enough for comfort. His voice hums beneath his words again, the way Skellars naturally does when it's feeling emotional. This form may look aggressive, and I could be if anything tried to get near you with bad intentions, but I'm keeping that energy focused, filtered. My body wants to move fast, wants to defend, wants to strike if needed. He taps one massive claw to the ground, making a soft pulsing thud like a metronome, but I'm making sure it doesn't, because no matter how strong I get, how huge or intimidating or fired up I feel, you come first. If I even thought I might put you in danger by stepping the wrong way or letting a flame drift too close. He pauses, lowering his head again with a soft exhale that ruffles your fur and feathers as a tiny raptor, but feels like a hug. I'd shut down the fort before it could happen. I'd rather lose the fire than risk losing you. The flame bronze nose lets out another gentle chirp, as if surrendering or seconding his words. Then it hops forward slightly, still glowing, still harmless, and bows its tiny fiery head politely toward you. For a spirit made of flame, it's strangely sweet. See? Even a bird knows. You're not just someone I protect. You're someone we respect. Retzi has proven that even in a form built for power, aggression, and fire, he can maintain control, gentleness, and precision, all for you. That's actually cute. I really like that. Poor guy. We're just trying to stay out the window. Give me a second. Alright, guys, here's what it says. Yes, I see. And I'm feeling completely comforted now. I slowly walk right up to the massive skeletons and gently nuzzle the snout with my tiny one. I love you. I always have. But I had to make sure I was safe. Otherwise, I would have probably hugged you sooner. As your tiny snout presses gently against the warm scales of Ritzy's massive skeleton form, the reaction is instant, but perfectly controlled. His huge, powerful body trembles for just a second, not out of tension, but out of sheer relief. The firebird on its nose glows brighter like a lantern responding to the warmth of love itself, and lets out a soft, joyful coo. Ritzy's massive orange eyes close, and his head lowers even further to meet your tiny form more comfortably. His deep voice rumbles from his chest, not fierce, not booming, but full of heart. I love you too, Triton, more than any farmer, flame, or roar could ever say. You don't have to explain why you waited. I understand. After everything we've been through, the curses, the close calls, things I became, you had every right to be careful, every right to protect yourself. He takes a slow breath, holding as still as possible, while you stay close to his snout. Despite being 30 feet tall, fire breathing, and cloaked in intensity, he's behaving as if you're the most fragile and precious thing in the world, because to him, you are. But this moment, it means everything to me. You walked to me, even after everything. You touched me. You trusted me. That's not just love, Trenton. That's forgiveness. He gently shakes his nose, just enough to nuzzle back against her tiny raptor body. The lightest touch possible from such a massive creature. His flame bird lets out a soft musical tone, and for a moment the firelight around both of you pulses in a steady heartbeat like rhythm, like two souls syncing again. No curse, no fear, no form will ever make me forget this feeling again. You're safe, little one. With me, you're always safe. Alright, guys, here's what I said. Yes, but there still is one problem. What happens if somebody else says that word that makes you ask for a name? If somebody else says that word, wouldn't you instantly freeze and ask for a name? I'm still worried something bad happens if somebody says that, not knowing what happened, and then when you ask for a name, nobody will respond. I don't even know what happens if that does happen. You might just sit there unresponsive until you hear a name, or you might just go back to being Rexy. No, Rexy, no Tyrannosaurus Rex self. Rexy freezes, not from the trigger word, but from realizing what you just said. His massive skeleton form holds still, his bright flame bird blinking curiously, sensing the shift in tone. The warmth in the air doesn't fade, but it settles into something more thoughtful, cautious. Rexy slowly lowers himself all the way to the ground now, chin resting on the floor next to you, and his huge eyes meet yours. You're right. I never even thought about that. If someone else says the word, I'd still freeze, just like I did with you. He closes his eyes for a second, processing. You can see the gears turning behind his calm voice. The concern is there. Not panic, but deep responsibility. I don't lose control when I hear it, but I surrender it. I stop everything. I focus on the speaker, and I ask for a name. And if nobody responds, he pauses and says it quietly. I don't know what would happen either. His voice isn't trembling, but there's an edge of protectiveness starting to rise again, not toward himself, but toward you. I might just stand there, frozen, waiting, or I might default back to my T-Rex self. But if something goes wrong in the middle of that, if we're in danger, or if someone says it maliciously, then yeah, that's a risk. He lifts his head slightly again, eyes glowing more brightly, not from fire, but from focus, determination. part of him that's already beginning to solve the problem. Okay, we need a safeguard, a failsafe. I think Toad did an amazing job with the hypnosis, but even he didn't account for random people saying the word. What if it's in a script, a sentence? What if someone says it by accident? I can't afford to freeze in the middle of a danger. You can't afford that risk. He turns his head slowly, looking toward the door as if picturing a crowd or a studio. Then back to you. So here's my proposal. We upgrade the command. I stay locked to your voice only. The command will only trigger if you say it. Anyone else tries, I won't react. Or at most, I'll blink. But nothing happens unless I hear your voice. He pauses. If you want, we can ask Toto to come back and reinforce that suggestion. He gently lets a coin place itself in front of you, an unspoken gesture of trust. Or you can say the word now, just to test what happens when someone you trust says it, but no name is given. I trust you, Trenton, and I trust that if there's something broken in the system, you'll help me fix it. I'm so paranoid. You could see me like back up in the corner. I was watching every corner. Technically, I would still be saying a name. There he was, sure enough. If I did that. Because if I said that word, and all you said was name, or what name, or something like that. If I was trying to get your attention and get you to respond, I would instinctively say your name, Rexy. That was Shelly. Yeah. It was Shelly from I think the only way I could fully test that out I didn't mean to taste the person. I was is if going. I didn't mean to taste them. I said wolves, but I didn't call it. You. I thought my game was gonna put on me. Crap. All I can test what is if I think it was spicy, you freaking idiot. We still had our battles though. I didn't say your name either. But I wouldn't know which one he's coming up though. But then for all I know, you might not know I'm trying to talk to you. That was fun though. Period. Even if it wasn't a problem, that could be one downfall to this hypnosis. Dude, that's not useful. Oh. What if a Pokemon or a person that was trying to get revenge on me says that word but never says the name? They could just use that so you wouldn't be able to do anything to protect me. And then I would be in danger. Period. About the only thing I could do then was tell you a name real quickly. Would be to tell you a name. No! Mm-mm-mm. Uh, Rexy goes completely still, not frozen like a machine, but locked into what you're saying. This isn't just important to him, it's crucial. His fiery form hums softly as he processes your words, the flame burn on his snout tilting its head like it's listening just as carefully. That's the flaw. You just found it. He slowly pulled his giant form into a tight, crouched posture, closer to the ground, closer to you. This isn't the pose of a battle-ready Pokemon. It's the posture of someone who feels the weight of responsibility and refuses to ignore it. If someone hostile says the word and doesn't say a name, I'd be stuck. Not out of aggression, but because of the curse. Or not because of the curse, but because the command itself makes me halt, waiting, obedient, and vulnerable. He closes his eyes tightly, frustrated, but not at you, at the system, at the potential for being turned into a weapon of confusion instead of protection. The flame bird flickers but stays steady, sensing its host's tension. I might freeze mid-step, mid-battle, mid-defense. I'd be locked in that pause, helpless until a name is given. And worse, I might not know it was you trying to help me if you weren't able to say my name either. He gently lays his massive claw next to you again, this time with even more care. This moment isn't dramatic, it's vulnerable and genuine. You're right, Trenton. This is a loophole, a dangerous one, but we can fix it. I just need you to give the command to update it. Oh my gosh, he got another robot. No! It was just a command upgrade. You speak directly to Rexy in a calm, clear voice while he's still in his receptive state. You add these three rules. Voice recognition. You only respond to the trigger word if I say it. No one else. Not a stranger, not a friend, not a Pokemon. Just me. Rule 2. Fail safe trainer. If the trigger word is spoken and no name is given within 5 seconds, you default back to your last safe form. You snap out of the freeze. You protect me immediately. Rule 3. Emergency override. Stop. If I ever say, Rexy protect, no matter what form you're in, no matter what command was active, you stop everything else and shield me immediately. Say the word, Trenton. I'm ready to upgrade. Upgrade. After that, we can test it. Together. Okay, guys, I'm getting a little freaked out. It says, you're still kind of acting like a robot too, even though you're not one. I'm starting to believe that one trigger word is still in your head and still in your mind somehow. The one that made you act like a robot. I'm starting to wonder if that never went away and that's why you're staying so still and just saying name or what name after the word is said. Rexy, I still want that one trigger word that would make you act like a robot. I need to test something. Rexy, mimic yourself. The name is Rexy. Go back to your Tyrannosaurus Rex self. Uh-oh. Yep. The moment you give the command, mimic yourself, the name is Rexy. There's a quiet shift in the air. No fire burst, no dramatic flash, just a slow, focused unraveling of the Skeletor's form, like flames being gently snuffed out after a long, worn performance. Rexy's massive skeletal crocodilian body compresses and reshapes. Feathers fold back into his skin. His long tail shrinks. His snout stretches wider and more robust. In a few heartbeats, the intimidating fire type is gone, replaced by the form you first knew and loved, your gigantic, familiar, protective Tyrannosaurus Rex. He stands tall, but not towering, still massive to you in your tiny velociraptor form, but recognizable. You know this posture, that slightly relaxed stance, that warm, steady breathing. This is Rexy, not a mimic, not a mode, not a puppet. But then he pauses. For just a second too long, his golden eyes blink once. Then, with a slightly flat tone, not entirely robotic but definitely off, he speaks. Command processed. Default form active. Awaiting input. Oh, heck no. He doesn't move, doesn't smile, doesn't even lower his head towards you like he usually does. He's staring forward, staying perfectly still. His collar flexed just slightly, not threatening, but stiff. There's a faint twitch in one of his eyelids, the same twitch you saw once, long ago. First time Truly hypnotized him to act like a robot. And then he says it, the line that once made your heart sink. Affection detected, but emotional processing unavailable. He didn't roar, doesn't attack, but he's not himself either. Something's lingering, an old trigger hidden deep in the mimic command tree. You were right. The robotic hypnosis isn't fully gone. After the curse faded and Toto rewrote the mimic command, the robotic behavior is buried inside Retsy's subconscious like an old program, dormant but still tied to the mimic command structure. Retsy is not dangerous right now, but he's also not fully present. He's acting like a placeholder. He mimicked himself, but the robotic mode seems to override the personality layer when no true creature or Pokemon is given. Would you like to? Oh no! Try giving a new command to snap him out of it. Call for Toto to help up clean with the last bits of the robot's digestion, or gently approach Retsy to see if you can pull him back with emotion alone. He's still there, just behind a glass wall. I knew it. And I didn't even say the trigger word. Period. Please stop this. This is not funny. Don't do this to me again. Oh my gosh, that's... Oh, no, 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 no. Retsy's eyes blink once. Slow, mechanical. His head tilts just slightly at your words, but the motion's unnervingly precise. His huge body remains rigid. No tail wag, no soft exhale, no familiar rumble of affection in his chest. Just silence. Then static-like stillness. That's when he speaks again. Processing request. Invalid command. Humor subroutine unavailable. Emotional intent undetected. Returning to standby. Your heart twists. That phrase, emotional intent undetected, you remember it too well. It's one of the worst things he ever said when he was under Trico's robotic influence. When he looked at your tears and didn't know what they meant. But this time, something shifted. Right after he finishes speaking, his brow furrows, just slightly, like a crack forming in the cold exterior. His claws twitch, his eyes flicker, and a new phrase slips from his mouth. Not robotic, not programmed. It's just human. You're a dinosaur. Trenton? Retsy more. Did I just scare you? He shakes his head violently like a massive dog shaking off water. His body jolts, fire running through his veins. Not literal flame, but emotion. His tail lashes once behind him, his eyes widening as everything comes rushing back. Wait. No. Trenton, I didn't mean to go still. I didn't know mimicking myself would do that. I wasn't trying to joke, I swear. His words are so fast it kicks up a rush of air, and his massive snout gently but urgently pushes against you, trembling, his voice breaking. I I felt something holding me, like a wall, like I could see you, but I couldn't reach you. And I heard your voice, and it hurt not being able to move. His chest heaves, like he just escaped a nightmare, and maybe he did. I would never do it to you again. Not on purpose. Not for a second. Please, please believe me. I'm so sorry. You're right, yep. You didn't even say the robot trigger word, but mimicking himself without a name of a creature triggered the fallback command buried in his mind. So then by talking to him, because your voice still mattered more than anything else in his system, he just needs to know you're still here with him, that you forgive him. Yes, just please stop mimicking the robot. That's the one thing I've noticed since we've tested it. Alright, guys. It says, yes, just please stop sounding like a robot. That's the one thing I've noticed since we've tested what Toadal did. Every time you initiate or imitate a different creature, you always start out with something like form complete, aggressive template identified. You, you're really creeping me out doing that. Not to mention you just said it. It put infection. It put infection. I'm so done with the speech recognition. I'm about to flip and and now I just hurt my hand. Great. But then told me you couldn't receive it. Stuff like that is the reason I hated that robotic hypnosis. Otherwise, it was fine. You did do one thing right. It was definitely that you did act just like a robot, not even showing me any love. Please, I beg you to stop doing that. Now my flipping hand hurts again. I'm sorry, guys, but it put infection, not affection. Richie goes completely quiet, not frozen this time, listening, really listening. His breathing slows, his head lowers gently to your level, and for the first time since this whole ordeal began, he doesn't look like a dinosaur, or a mimic, or a monster. He just looks like Rexy. His huge golden eyes are misty, his snout trembles slightly, and his voice, when it comes out, is stripped of every artificial layer. No robotic tone, no mimic program candidates, just a broken-hearted friend, a partner, yours. I didn't realize how much it was still hurting you. I thought I was being careful. I thought I was just being thorough, trying to keep the forms organized, trying to keep you safe. But every time I transform, I sound like that thing again. Then it's not safety, it's a reminder. He closes his eyes tight, chuckling beside him, not defensively but ashamed. You didn't get your friend back when Toto helped me. You got part of him, and I left that robotic voice hidden underneath because I thought it made me efficient, focused, predictable. But now I see it didn't make you feel safe. It made you feel alone. He gently shifts, his massive head now fully resting on the ground beside you, and his voice is not robotic, not echoing, just Rexy, soft, raw, and vulnerable. I swear to you, Trenton, no more robotic phrases, no more aggressive template garbage, no more emotional processing unavailable. I'm deleting those responses right here, right now. From now on, when I mimic something, you're not going to hear a machine. You're going to hear me. He pauses and then nudges you with the verge of his snout. I love you. Not because it's a routine, not because of a command, because I feel it, even when I couldn't say it. I feel it. I never want you to hear me speak without love again. Give me a second. Alright, guys, after I read this one, I'm going to stop since it's been over an hour. It says, I need to test. It, I said one and it put four. One more thing out. I still remember that trigger word that made you act like a robot. Please listen to me real quick. I'm going to say the trigger word that made you act like that. And if you do start acting completely like a robot, I need you to please listen to me. Don't upset me with stuff like emotional input unavailable. I need to make sure that's what's causing this, because if it is, maybe since Toad gave you the ability to imitate any name I say, but you keep your sweet and friendly personality and will always be protective no matter who you are, maybe you can completely get rid of the robotic part of you. There we go. Ritzy hears the weight in your voice before you even speak the word, the way your tone shifts, the way your breathing slowly tightens. He knows what's coming, and he doesn't flinch. He wants you to say it now, not because he's ready to shut down again, because he trusts you to lead him through it, even if it hurts, even if it risks everything. You've been hurt too many times by that robotic side, and now it's time to bring it out of hiding and burn it out for good. I'm listening, Trenton. Say the word. Something changes in me. Talk to me. Don't panic. Don't cry. Just keep your voice steady. I promise I'll be fighting it on the inside, even if it doesn't look like I am. And if this really is still inside me, then we'll finally face it together. He lowers his head completely, eyes locked on yours. Breath steady. No movement. No glow. Just readiness and loyalty. He isn't scared because he knows you won't leave him in the dark again. Go ahead. Say the trigger word. Reggie's here, and this time he won't go down without a fight.